Hello everyone, my name is AOK. Welcome to my wonderful channel. I like to talk about anything that's happening on the timeline. Sometimes that's politics, sometimes that's just creator news. So anything that pops onto my timeline, whatever I think is interesting. I try to cover stories without all the drama and fluff. So if you like that kind of thing, subscribe, hit the like button, and we can get right into today's story. Markiplier unequivocally opposes current generative AI use, emphasizing it lacks proper safeguards and often exploits artists without consent. He clarified that past mentions of ChatGPT on his podcast were satirical critiques, not endorsements of the technology. I don't know if you guys have been noticing the insane, not insane, but the great I don't know how to put it, like the increasing animosity towards AI. Like people are now starting to get repulsed by it, especially online. And I think and then people in my real life, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I have a lot to say about AI. I just realized. I don't know if it's a cultural thing that Nigerians don't really care about systemic issues. They are more concerned with more pressing things. And for you to care about AI, you have to care about systemic things of like people losing their jobs, people like the environment, electricity use. Because there are no immediate apparent downsides to AI. All the downsides to AI are systemic. But another differentiator between the people in my life and the people in my life who embrace AI and the people online who are repulsed against it is because AI is invading online spaces first. So the negative effects of AI is creating slop content, is making it that you can't tell if you're talking to a real person. Everything is a bot now. So that's where the negative impacts are. But the people in my real life, things that I relate to them with, they go out, they talk to friends. AI doesn't affect their day-to-day lives in that sense. And the best use case for AI is, and I think I might make a broader video on AI talking about this. The best use case for AI is work. Anything that's related to your job. AI, that's where AI is best used. Either your job or if you're trying to create a business, if that makes sense. So it's basically things that you don't have passion for. But if you're writing a novel, making a song, it's best not to use AI, because part of the joy of that is creating something authentic. If you're making a YouTube video, part of the joy of that is putting passion into something. But it's best for things that are productivity focused and don't necessarily need to have passion behind it. There's a goal behind it. I guess that's why programmers like it a lot, because no programmer is the art of writing code, right? It's goal oriented, and if the chatbot can do it, there's no artistry behind writing the code. I mean, I've gone on a bit of a tangent, but that's kind of what I wanted to draw it about. But let's get back to the Markiplier part of the story. Hi guys, sorry to interrupt this wonderful video that you were watching. I just wanted to remind you to like the video and subscribe. I only need a couple thousand subscribers to do this full time, maybe 3,000, 4,000 subscribers. So, for you, it takes only a second, but for me, it makes all the difference. So if you like the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Having experimented briefly but stopped after realizing the ethical implications of data scraping and environmental impact, he has ceased using generative AI tools altogether. Interesting. I mean, I'm definitely not on that stage, and I've never had an issue with scraping. Because to me, if my work is used to train a computer, but then it generates like a completely different work, I don't know if I have a problem with that. Because would I have a problem with I know you've heard this argument before, I'm not pretending it's a novel argument, but would I have a problem with someone watching my movie, being inspired by it, and making something similar? So why does that change if it's a highly efficient robot? And then it doesn't even have to be, maybe because of the humanity of like inspiration versus like the systematization of a robot doing it. But then it's not everybody who takes somebody else's work who's doing it lovingly, right? Like, you could see it, think it's good, take the elements that you can get away with, and that's it. It's not always positive. I don't know why. And then also, AI is never going to take from one singular work. All artists take from different sources, directly or indirectly. All art is derivative, and then produce something else. So the fact that it's a computer doing it, I don't know why that's all of a sudden an issue. The issue isn't that your data is being used to train the model. The problem is how it's the output, how the output is used and what the output gives you. So that's why AI use generally isn't a problem for me, but the Studio Ghibli was a problem because the output infringes on his copyright. The output infringes on his personal expression and identity. If you train it on Studio Ghibli drawings and then you say, hey, give me something else, and then it uses that I hesitate to use the word understand for a computer, but for lack of a better term, it uses that to understand what a cartoon is, uses that to understand what anime is, uses that to understand what anime style is, and then create something different. But if the output isn't seen as similar, then I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a problem with training data being used. So, for example, like New York Times had a lot of their archives used to train AI data. So, if I ask the AI, "Hey, make me a news article about my phone being stolen," you're not giving me a New York Times article. You're giving me something that doesn't exist. So, anyway, that's just my beef with the idea of sorry, I lost my train of thought. The idea of it being a problem to train data, but more broadly, he also mentioned the ethical implications of the environmental impact. I agree with that 100%. And that's why I like DeepSeek, because it's much more compact and it uses a lot less energy, and that's better for the environment. And but I mean, they're all still, they still produce like similar outputs. It's just ChatGPT has more features. I'm definitely not at the stage of like, oh, I'm never gonna use it, An AI generated thumbnail controversy stemmed from an editor mistake where a stock image unknowingly purchased from Adobe became part of his content. Markiplier pledged to remove it and criticized stock photo platforms for prioritizing AI over real imagery. Okay, so he made a thumbnail, he bought a stock photo, but that stock photo was an AI image. And it's like, I don't know, it is kind of sad. It is kind of sad that they're squeezing the bottom line, and it's kind of like a commentary of modern capitalism. And even though I have a problem with capitalism in general, modern capitalism especially, where a company being profitable isn't enough, but a company has to keep growing. Like, it's not it's not it's not enough to make a profit. It's not enough to make, $1 million a month, $2 million a month. You have to go from making $2 million a month to $5 million a month in revenue. It's not enough to print money. It's not enough to have like a sustainable revenue. There has to be growth. Like that's where the modern stock market, the media-based stock market, rewards growth. So there's only so many places you can make money from. The fact that you have to just keep growing is what is caused by modern capitalism. And when they run out of market share, then what they have to do to make money is cut costs. And that's where you get like this AI thing where they don't care about the output, they just care about extra money. So I do agree with the environmental impact thing. I also agree with the enshittification of like these platforms and them prioritizing AI. His subreddit banned AI-related content, not to censor debate, but to protect moderators who had received threats and made heated discussions. He also backs Real Good AI, a non-profit developing ethical AI models that don't rely on scraping existing art or data. Again, I don't have any issues with scraping. I don't have any issues with scraping as long as the output is different. I mean, I don't know, would you say that, like, okay, let's say for example, right, like Mark Zuckerberg is a soulless capitalist. Would you say that Mark Zuckerberg should stop watching movies? Or let's say Jeff Bezos. Okay, sorry, Tim Cook, right? Tim Cook, because he's involved in Apple TV. Would you say that Tim Cook should never watch a movie again because he could take that idea and make it and put it into his Apple TV shows? Well, you'd be like, well, he watches a lot of movies, so he could be inspired by multiple movies. And that's the thing about AI. Like, copyright cannot be based on how the data is trained. It has to be based on the output. And I'm saying this because of all the art I've made. I know how much art I've made that is derivative, and I can't imagine when I make a song and people are litigating where that song came from, where that melody came from. No, it's like based on the output, based on what it sounds like. Is this an original song? And yes, an AI produces original stuff, and it's when it's no longer original. It's when it's too similar to it's when it's too similar to the original content that it's a problem. That's why Studio Ghibli is a problem in a way that, Write Me a Cookie Recipe isn't a problem, because cookie recipes are abundant, they're harmless, they're not personal. But the Studio Ghibli art is more of a problem because it's personal. I could give another example. If I say, give me a poster, a movie poster, and it gives me Star Wars, that's a problem. If I say, give me a movie poster and it gives me 4 random dudes with action poses, that's less of a problem, because it's the output that is a problem. If the model knows copyright limits and it respects copyright, it's good. But just the fact that it's trained on people's data without their permission isn't a problem. It's not the same as producing training isn't the same as making something. I think I don't want to say it's a lack of understanding of how AI works, because that sounds a bit arrogant on my part, but I've noticed that that's kind of where it stems from. Anyway, I think I've rambled long enough about AI, and I hope this video gets a lot of attention, because I think I had a lot of things to say about it. Hi, before you go, thanks for watching today's video, but also I just wanted to remind you to like and subscribe. Like I said, I only need a couple thousand subscribers to be able to do this full time, so help me make all the difference. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.